to call to order the village board meeting for June 24th, 2025. Would you please join us with a pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
President DeSimone.
Here.
Trustee Carmona.
Here.
Trustee Franz.
Here.
Trustee Fry.
Here.
Trustee Lomax.
Here.
Trustee Penicola.
Here.
Trustee Perez.
Here.
That's 7.
This time we'll move to public comment. Does anyone wish to address the board? If so, please approach the podium and state your name.
Yes, we have one gentleman. I'm sorry, Yusuf
Ahmed.
Ahmed. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought there was an H.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. My name is Yusuf. I'm here to hopefully clear a few misconceptions in hopes of us becoming less divided than we are today. In case you're not aware, a Muslim by definition is anyone who submits their will to God. If you are a Christian, the verse from Gospel of John, chapter 5, verse 30, might come as a surprise, where Jesus, peace be upon him, says in a red letter, I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father which had sent me. Anyone who says, I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father which had sent me, is a Muslim. Jesus, peace be upon him, was sent only for the Jews, but Jesus, peace be upon him, was a Muslim. Some of you might have noticed that Muslims pray by falling their face to the ground. Well, if you look in the Bible, in Matthew chapter 26, verse 39, you will find that Jesus, peace be upon him, also fell on his face and prayed, just as you see Muslims praying today. As a follower of Jesus, peace be upon him, when was the last time you fell your face to the ground and prayed just as Jesus, peace be upon him, prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane? In case you're not aware, the word Christian came after Jesus, peace be upon him, was gone, when some of his followers went to the city of Antioch, modern-day Turkey, which was part of the Roman Empire then, to preach to them the oneness of God. This is when those who worshipped idols called the followers of Jesus, peace be upon him, Christians. It is mentioned in the book of Acts, chapter 11, verse 26, and the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch. So the name Christian was not given by God, not by Jesus, peace be upon him, not by any of his followers, but by the pagans of the Roman Empire. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said that all mankind is from Adam, and Adam is from dust. An Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, nor a non-Arab has any superiority over an Arab. A white has no superiority over a black, nor a black has any superiority over a white, except by piety and God consciousness. I end with the verse from the Holy Quran, from Surah Al-Hujurat, chapter 49, verse 13, where our one and only Creator, Allah, the same Allah of the Bible, the Arabic Bible to be exact, and the Holy Quran says, O mankind, indeed we have created you from a single pair of a male and a female, and made you into nations and tribes, so that you may get to know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the most pious of you. Indeed, Allah is all-knowing and all-acquainted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other public comment?
No.
This will conclude public comment. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the May 20th, 2025 village board meeting?
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any modifications to our minutes? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona.
Yes.
Trustee Franz.
Yes.
Trustee Fry.
Yes.
Trustee Lomax.
Yes.
Trustee Penicola.
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries and minutes are approved. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the June 10th, 2025 village board meeting?
You have a
Is
motion?
there a second?
Second.
Any modifications to those minutes? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona.
Yes.
Trustee Franz.
Yes.
Trustee Fry.
Yes.
Trustee Lomax.
Yes.
Trustee Penicola.
Yes.
Trustee Perez.
Yeah.
That's 6.
Motion carries, minutes are approved. The next item of business is to approve the warrant in the amount of $5,549,346.31. Is there a motion to
You have a
approve?
motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the warrant? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries and the warrant is approved. There are no items on the consent agenda. Under administration, there's an ordinance amending the Bensonville Village Code to eliminate the annual dog license fee for the village residents. Is there a motion to approve?
So motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Being a motion and a second, do we have discussion?
Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. This just does away with the dog license fee as was put on the referendum, the advisory referendum in the election.
Any questions from our board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries, ordinance is passed. Under finance, resolution of the Village of Bensonville, DuPage, and Cook County, Illinois, approving the designation of an authorized signer for Chicago Title Land Trust Company, trust number 6194. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
There being a motion and a second, Lisa, are you gonna do this?
Yes.
Discussion?
Good evening, Mr. President and Board of Trustees. The village acquired the Bensonville Theater in 1990, and the theater is currently held in trust. The village is a beneficiary of this trust, and the authorized signer for this trust is a former village president. So tonight, staff is respectfully requesting the board to change the authorized signer for the trust to the current village's president. This will allow the theater to be moved from the trust, and the theater will be directly owned by the village. So in summary, staff is recommending the approval of the resolution to approve the designation of an authorized signer for Chicago Title Land Trust Company, trust number 6194. And I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions from our board?
Does the former village president have to sign off on this change or
I don't know, Joe?
no? Oh, okay.
Any
That's a
other
good
questions?
question, though.
Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries, resolution is approved. Under Public Works, ordinance of the Village of Bensonville, DuPage, and Cook County, Illinois, amending 8-6-5-5B of the Bensonville Village Code with regard to pretreatment local limits. Is there a motion to approve?
Yeah, motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Being a motion and a second, Joe, would you like to discuss this?
Yeah, so as you're aware, the US EPA actually oversees our pretreatment program. The pretreatment program allows us to manage the waste that our industries and Elk Grove Village industries actually discharge to our wastewater treatment plant. So every 5 years, we are required to go through and look at the discharge waste that comes into us, evaluate it, and see if there are anything that we need to modify because either our plant has changed and we can't handle it, or our streams can't accept or shouldn't accept some of these different chemicals and metals and things of that nature. So we performed that test last year, and we submitted our requirements over to the US EPA. They have approved the recommended changes to our local limits. Minor changes this year, or this cycle. We are changing a little bit the limits of cyanide, nickel, silver, zinc that can be discharged. And we've also eliminated the total toxic organics, which are TTOs that go to the plant. So this is actually going to benefit our businesses in town, a little less restrictive than it was in the past. So staff does recommend approval.
Any questions from our board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries and ordinance is passed. 2 is a resolution authorizing purchase order to Munters Corporation for purchase of 1 desiccant wheel for John Street Ice Rink in the not-to-exceed amount of $38,050. Is there a motion?
Yeah, motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Being a motion and a second, Joe?
I know you guys are all well educated on desiccant wheels. This is the fourth one I've brought to you in the last 2 years. So the basic function of a desiccant wheel is it transfers energy between the fresh air and the exhaust air in a system, in a dehumidification system. It keeps our ice cold. These are original desiccant wheels that we are replacing. They're all 20 to 25 years old. This is the fourth of 4. So this should be the last time I come to you for a desiccant wheel. In the past 3 years, we've replaced 3 of them, so the fourth one is before you tonight. Munters Corporation, one of the things we found too is that all of our desiccant wheels seem to have different manufacturers and different styles and different types. So Munters is the OEM manufacturer that distributes this specific desiccant wheel. The cost of the desiccant wheel is $38,050. We are going to do the install in-house with our facility staff, so we're saving money on that. Staff does recommend the approval.
Questions from our board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's six.
Motion carries, resolution is approved. Three is a resolution authorizing the execution of extension number one of the construction contract with Performance Pipelining Incorporated of Ottawa, Illinois for the 2025 Cured in Place Pipe Sanitary Sewer Lining Project to the not to exceed amount of $199,302.50. Is there a motion?
Yeah, motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Being a motion, a second, Joe, discussion?
Yep, so each year the village budgets and performs a CIPP lining project. This is a trenchless technology to rehabilitate our sanitary sewers. We don't have to dig up the roadways to do this. We do it all within the manholes and without digging. This year's program will focus mainly on three different areas. The map's in front of you. One section on the 500 block of South York Road, one section on the 1000 block of South Center Street, and then a few different areas within the Brentwood subdivision. A total of 4,910 feet will be lined this year. 93 service reinstatements will also be included in the price. Last year, the village board approved the contract with Performance Pipelining as part of a municipal partnering initiative. It's basically a joint purchase that we combined with Bartlett last year. That contract offered 2 one-year extensions, so we're looking to extend it for the first year at the 2024 prices. So the total cost of this project is $199,302.50, which is just under our $200,000 budget. So staff does recommend approval.
Questions from our board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's six.
Motion carries, resolution is approved. Four is a resolution authorizing the execution of Phase 2 Design Engineering Services Agreement with Civil Tech Engineering Incorporated of Itasca, Illinois for the Green Street Reconstruction STP project in the not to exceed amount of $654,238.35. Is there a motion?
Yeah, motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Being a motion, and a second, Joe?
Yep, so these next two items are very similar for two different projects that we have anticipated coming up in 2027. So we applied for surface transportation program for both of them. So this first one, Green Street reconstruction. Green Street will be the reconstruction and resurfacing of Green Street between York Road and Church Road. So we're going to resurface the area between York Road and Mason and reconstruct the roadway between Mason and Church Road. We're also going to include some water main transferring, new sanitary sewer. This actual sanitary sewer I plan on replacing. We had a lot of issues with the sanitary sewer initially, so we're going to replace the sanitary sewer in total. We applied for surface transportation program funds. We received $2.14 million in funds. The current cost estimate for this project is $5.8 million, so it's just under 50% of the cost of the project. It's covering 80% of the roadway components, but we have to pay for the water main and the sewer ourselves. Civil Tech is currently wrapping up the Phase 1 design, which is all the environmental stuff that's required for these federal funded projects. They're doing a great job. We want to continue them for Phase 2, which is more the detailed design of the roadways, the sidewalks, and the utilities. We've had several negotiation meetings with Civil Tech, recommending approval of an agreement in the amount of $654,238.35. It's a high number, but about $300,000 of that is actual design services. The other $355,000 is potential land acquisition. So in order to get some of the federal requirements along Green Street with the radiuses and things like that, we do have to get some land acquisition, whether it's permanent easements, temporary easements, or some right-of-way. So unfortunately, that's what costs a lot of money on these federal projects. So again, more than half of that money is designated for potential, we may not use it, but potential land acquisition. So again, this fee is, an engineering fee for the design is actually under 5% or about 5% of the design cost or construction cost, which is what we expect. So staff does recommend approval of this Phase 2 design engineering agreement.
Questions from our board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's six.
Motion carries, the resolution is approved. Five is a resolution authorizing execution of Phase 2 Design Engineering Service Agreement with BLA Incorporated of Itasca, Illinois for the Evergreen Street Reconstruction STP project in the not to exceed amount of $709,221. Is there a motion?
Yeah, motion.
We have a second.
Second.
Being a motion, a second, Joe?
Yep, so this one is Evergreen Street. Also 2027 anticipated construction, surface transportation program again. The project limits will include Evergreen Street from Jefferson all the way up to Green Street. It also includes Park Street, which is the other part of the horseshoe. So that entire area will be reconstructed in our industrial standards, which means concrete roadway, new water mains, new storm sewer, sanitary likely lining in this situation, sidewalks on both sides of the street lights, things of that nature. So it's the full gamut of our industrial roadway cross-section. Current cost estimate's approximately $10 million for this project. We did secure $4.235 million of STP funds. So again, about 45% of the project cost will be covered with grant funds. BLA is currently wrapping up their phase one engineering on the project, and we recommend continuing with them for phase two. Similar to the Green Street project, there's quite a bit of land acquisition that's required on this one, especially to try to get some of these sidewalks in and around the horseshoe itself. This one had just about $463,000 in design services and $246,000 in land acquisition services. So again, staff recommends approval, and hopefully our land acquisition is not as high as that estimate.
Questions from the board?
If the land acquisition does not happen, what happens to that money?
It stays into it basically gets returned to our CIP costs.
Okay.
So,
Any other questions from the board? Call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's six.
Motion carries, resolution is approved. 6 is a resolution authorizing execution of change order number 1 final with A-Lamp Concrete Contractors for the Sesame Street Reconstruction SSA project for a decrease of $152,157.99 for a revised final contract amount of $2,282,825.27. Is there a motion?
Your motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Being a motion, a second. We like decreases. Joe, go ahead.
don't get used to them. So the Sesame Street project was substantially completed last year. We did the final inspections and everything this spring. Everything checked out okay. We originally awarded a contract with A-Lamp back in June of last year. This project, again, was a complete industrial roadway gamut of new sidewalks, new lights, new concrete pavement, sidewalks, everything. We did do an SSA on this project, so the residents, or the business owners, I should say, property owners in the area did pay for half of this project. It's now complete, and we do have a decrease in the cost of the project of just over $152,000. So the final is just under $2.3 million. The decrease, basically what we typically see, some of our unit price items, we didn't use all of them, some of them were more, so just the balancing of those unit price items yielded that savings. This final change order will also result in a reduction of the SSA. So again, as we typically will do, if we ask them for $3 million in SSA and we only spend 2.8, we're only going to charge them 2.8. So we will be returning this money back to them in the form of less SSA costs on their tax bills in the future. So staff does recommend approval of this change order.
Questions from our board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's six.
Motion carries, resolution is approved. 7, the resolution authorizing the execution of a change order number 2, final, with Aqua Contractors Corporation for the Addison Creek Storm Sewer Phase 2 improvements for an increase of $211,736.17 for a revised final contract amount of $2,891,342.79. Is there a motion?
Your
Do
motion.
we have a second?
Second.
Being a motion, a second, Joe?
So Joe giveth and Joe taketh away.
Yes.
So this one was the Addison Street Phase 2 project. Again, this is Phase 2 of 3 phases. This is probably the largest storm sewer project the village has done in decades. This is really a project that focuses on solving the flooding issues in the center part of town. We've seen already, as part of these 2 phases, a reduction in flooding in the area, more conveyance of water, but it's not done. It's not connected to Redmond yet. So that'll be Phase 3 coming up in the next few years. We'll come back and do that project. We're trying to couple and partner with the county, DuPage County and their stormwater division to do a joint project on that and hopefully share some of the funding responsibilities to get that last one done. But this project had some challenges to it. So when we went down the roadway where we installed, again, big, huge pipe, 72-inch pipe down the street, the roadway was caving in continuously on us. Due to either groundwater issues, we did find that there were some water main issues in the Bridgeway area that were also contributing to the problem. So as you start digging and you get wet soil, soil keeps caving in. So I have to give kudos to the contractor. They continued to work on this project. They got the project done on time. But, you know, when you budget for and you plan for an excavation of a nice tight trench and it opens up just about as wide as the roadway, there's not much they can do about it. So this change order takes on some of that responsibility. So the dewatering that they had to do to keep the trench as dry as possible so they could work in it safely, and then the additional excavation that was required to pull that stone that was falling in out, and then replacing the stone. That's what the majority of this change order is. So there's four different items, again, the extensive dewatering, the additional excavation, the additional stone, and then we had to reconfigure at the very end of the project, the connection into the phase one project. So that's all included in here. The total cost of the change order 2 was $211,000 for a final project of just under $2.9 million. So staff does recommend the approval. And again, I do have to give kudos to the contractor. I thought they did an exceptional job in the challenges. It's just unfortunate that the soils didn't quite hold up for us.
Any questions from our board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries, resolution is approved. 8 is a resolution approving the Village of Bensonville Qualification-Based Selection, QBS, Policy and Procedures. Is there a motion to approve?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Being a motion and a second, Joe, discussion?
Yep, so qualification-based selection, QBS. This is a kind of a procurement process for engineering services that is basically based on an engineer's qualifications and their demonstrated competence rather than on cost. This is a very important thing when it comes to federally funded projects. So these surface transportation program projects, when we go out and get our engineers, we have to go through and do a vetting process, a QBS process to select the engineer. Once we select the best qualified engineer, then we are allowed to actually negotiate a price. Now, it doesn't mean we have to take their prices. If we can't negotiate a price, we go to the second engineer, right? So what's in front of you is a formal policy that we establish as a policy here in the village. By having this policy, we are showing the federal government, we're showing the state of Illinois that we are using this QBS process. It has to be vetted by them. I've already sent this down to IDOT and their Bureau of Local Roads. Just got back Friday that they have approved it. They actually thought it was very well written. And, you know, it's just something that is good for a village to have on the books. We are using this process for our shortlist engineering search right now, which is currently out there in the industry. We will come back to you in the July board meeting with a list of shortlisted firms that we'll use for the next 4 years. We're also planning on using this for our upcoming grade separation engineering search. So that'll, once I get the shortlisted firms, I'm gonna go out again for a completely separate project, which is the grade separation at York Road. And we'll follow the same process there, which again, will satisfy our requirements should we get federal funds for this project. Now, we've actually already received federal funds from Congresswoman Ramirez for the design engineering, so this would be a requirement regardless. So the policy's in front of you. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Again, it was approved by IDOT, so approval tonight, we'll put it on our books as a policy that we will continue to use into the future.
Any questions from our board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries, the resolution is approved. Before we go on, Joe, I want to give you and your team kudos, man, because I know 8 years ago when we took office, we had millions upon millions of dollars of backed up stormwater projects we needed to get done. And now we're clipping them off at 2, 3, 4, almost $10 million a pop. So that shows that your team is working, our team on the finance side is working, us on the board is working to make these realities. Now, we're not gonna get everybody in the same year.
Right.
But we're chipping away more than ever before, so thank you. And like I said, even the streets, even the roadways that we're putting together now, great job.
Yeah,
All
we
right?
couldn't do it without the grant money we get. And again, with
100%.
our excess fund balance policy that we approved a few years ago, that's what's generating revenue for our stormwater. So that's a great thing. It's you guys that support that.
And we always said, if it's free, it's for me, right? So we go grant first. Thanks, Joe, I appreciate that. On the recreation is the ordinance authorizing the declaration of a 2003 Olympia Millennium Ice Resurfacer as surplus property and disposal. Is there a motion to approve?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Being a motion is second. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. In April of 2024, the village board approved the purchase of a new Zamboni ice resurfacing machine to replace the 2003 ice resurfacer. Staff is requesting that the village board approves the ordinance authorizing the declaration of the Olympia as surplus property.
So we can sell it.
Are we gonna sell it?
I said, so we can sell
Exactly.
it. Okay. Any questions for the board? Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's six.
Motion carries and ordinance passed. Again, another curveball before we go to president's remarks. Mary, would you like to introduce somebody in the room to everybody?
It would be my pleasure to introduce our new Community and Economic Director. That's Walter Magdazar. Did I do okay? No. Sorry, Walter. No D. Magziars.
Walter, how about a 20-second introduction? I know we're going to do a taping, so we're going to get it out to everybody, but why don't you give everybody out there a 20-second overview of yourself? Or 30. 31, we're cutting off your mic.
Well, first of all, I'm very happy to be here. Look forward to working with all of you. As far as brief history of myself, I've got many years of experience in the public and private sector, and most recently I was a consultant with MGT Consulting, and prior to that was with the Village of Sugar Grove, and before that the town of Cortland and in DeKalb County. Prior to that, I was with a consulting firm that I had with a partner, and before that, I spent a few years in Arlington Heights, the Village of Bolingbrook, doing various things.
Well, we're excited to have you aboard. As you can see from the day one you got here, we got a lot of stuff going on.
Yes.
Got a lot of stuff going vertical, as we like to say.
Yes.
Well, welcome aboard. We look for great things from you as well.
Thank you.
All right, presidential comments. 4th of July, we have our 4th of July parade. It starts at 10 a.m. It leaves right here from Village Hall. After that, let's see, at 6 o'clock, we will start with our food and beverages. Also with a DJ at 6 o'clock. 7:30, the band Wild Daisies will be performing. They are an upbeat country band. And then fireworks at 9:30. Also, another reminder is that there will be no music in the park on July 2nd due to the 4th of July. That's all I have, really. I don't have much more than that. Do we have any village managers report?
Only that the village hall will be closed the 4th and the 5th, so Friday and Saturday for Independence Day.
Do we have any attorney's report?
I have no report.
Any unfinished business to come before the board today? Is there any new business to come before the board today? Is there a need for executive session?
There is not.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
You have a
Do
motion.
we have a second?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes. We are adjourned, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.